Hi.
Me out on being She called. I saw that. You're on camera. You're on camera. All right.
Oh yeah, that sounds
green peach. That sounds really
chai. We're having chai with some soy creamer and stevia, by the way, in case you were wondering. Yeah,
I'm allergic to stevia.
Oh well then, this will be a short interview, and
Let's see.
I'll just take it from here.
I knew you'd do that. I knew you'd do that at least once.
We don't want to have an incident, an international incident.
It would be.
It'll be our first.
Let's just get started because the time's a ticking and there's a lot to talk about.
Yes.
We have been friends for
30 plus years.
30 plus years. We met when we were both 5.
We were both.
And
well,
I was 5. You were 7.
I was not born yet.
So Annie Wood, in case you don't know, is what I'm going to call a super creative, and I don't use that expression lightly. It's the only time I've ever used it was with her. She is an actress. She does voiceover. She's an author of. We're gonna do a lot of show and tell too, or as Larry says, Joe and tell.
Oh, that's cute. That I get.
Yeah. So, like for example, this is one of her many books. This is called "Just a Girl in the World." I've read it. It's a great book. It's very inspiring, and so she's an author. She's a playwright. She's a director. She's a producer. She's done a web series. She's a painter. She's an artist. She does sketching. She's already sketching while we talk.
Oh my God, that's a doodle.
So she's already just. And this is a really big one. She was only the 3rd female in the history of Hollywood or television to host a dating game show, which was called Buzz.
So you say Buzz.
Buzz.
Yeah.
When I say Buzz, you say Buzz.
Tomato.
It's an Ohio thing. So she, and then what did I forget?
Oh, I can't remember.
There's so many things. So
did you say poet?
Poet.
I have a new podcast with my
poet podcast. She does, and let me show some other things while we're just talking. Right? She has a book of.
This is a downloadable, motivational thing that I have in my Etsy shop. It's only $4 or $5 or something. Anyhow, this is to inspire other creatives, which I believe is every single human being on this planet.
Yes.
So it has some of my poems and a lot of advice and some of my art.
And so behind us too, you'll see that this is her studio, which we're going to do a little walkthrough through. But just Deep Thoughts by Gorgeous Weirdos. She did this thing. She was doing this art thing with this Barbie doll that she called Yazzie, and so she photographed Yazzie in different, never compromising, but just different places, doing different
Wait,
things.
She did go skinny dipping once in Italy. Yeah.
By herself, though.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yes.
I was busy.
So it's just an example of the creativity that she does. We're going to get into this later too, but she also has, hey, people that are joining. She also is right now with her father, who's 98. She's going through the exercise or the process of her father aging. And there were times where he was losing some of his faculties. And so they've solved some of the problems. But during that, she used that to inspire herself to create. And she wrote a book, You Should Write About This, a poetry art book. And it's really about the process of what it was like to experience this change of mental capacity with her father. It's a great book. I have a copy myself. It's really, really good. And good for other. She writes.
By the way, I want to interject. I wrote a documentary. Did you see it? It's a documentary short called Dad's Frenemy. Because my dad, who has dementia, was hearing a voice that he was hallucinating and hearing a voice. And so I was videotaping him, and then I created an animation from it. And I read some of my poetry and some of our conversations and what I learned from it. And I wrote a documentary called Dad's Frenemy. And it's only 8 minutes. I wasn't sharing it everywhere because I felt for privacy reasons. So I had it in a private channel. But it's won some awards. It was best of like San Francisco Shorts Awards and all sorts of awards. So I will share a link with you and they can all watch it if they want.
Sure. Is that on your Annie.wood site?
It's not because I have it a little hidden, but I will send it directly to you.
Okay. And some more writing. So she also writes plays. She's always writing, and she's always inspiring me to write.
Even when we were really young, I was like, "Did you write today? Do you remember that?"
Yes. In fact, she just gave me a present. Oh, it's my apartment. So she even gave me a present when I got here that was a book that just said write. So she's always trying to like pull me out of my my job, like day-to-day living. So I'm going to post a picture, and feel free to ask questions along the way. This is definitely an open chat. I want you guys to be involved in the process. So if you have a question that you want to ask Annie, ask away, and we will get to it. If I don't see it, I apologize. You can just re-ask. I'm going to post a picture, and then we're going to get into some other things.
Oh.
So this is a picture of Annie and I. Oh my gosh.
Well, so
it had to be back in the mid '90s.
Yes.
Right.
Because I married Willie, right? So
were you married then?
Yes, because I remember we were living on Fountain here in Hollywood.
Okay.
By the way, we're in Hollywood, California.
Oh yeah, we're in Hollywood, California,
where I was born and raised, and where I live now. Yeah, so I was there, so it had to have been the mid '90s.
Okay.
Or early '90s, early or mid.
Almost 30 years ago.
What?
Okay. So this is proof that we have known each other for a very long time.
Because I know you guys were, you needed some proof.
Yeah. Oh, so let's explain how we met too.
Oh yeah.
All right. And I have a list of questions that we're going to ask, but we're just kind of let the interview kind of flow. So we met. I moved to Los Angeles a couple times in my life, and one was in the early '80s, probably in '85, and then I moved back home to finish college, and then I moved back here in 1990, which is when 1991, when I met her. And we were both doing extra work on movies. Right. And I saw her, I remember it was like a cattle call. It must have been a bigger casting.
Sure, a lot of people.
There were a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I was in a parking lot, and I looked over and I saw this young girl. We were all both young, but I saw her sitting in a lawn chair. She had sunglasses on. It was very early in the morning, and I don't know if I remember thinking to myself, "Oh, I want to talk to her." Like right away, I was drawn to go and speak to her, and instantly sparks flew, and we started talking. I'm making this part up, and then sparks.
Wait, I remember though. I remember something. I really do. So I remember that we there was a moment on this film that we'll have to figure out what film this was on, where you had to like kind of watch like a wedding or we were in a wedding. Okay?
That's the one with Time Daly.
Okay, so this is what I remember.
Yeah.
And you and I pretended to be husband and wife. Now, extras in Hollywood and movies, extras don't have to have roles necessarily unless the director gives you something. In our case, we made stuff up and decided to improvise an entire life together that we had as this married couple, and we barely knew each other. Right. And we improvised the entire time and kept ourselves entertained. Right. And it's never stopped.
And that's basically how we met. Okay, so what I would like to do now is I want to just do some more showing of some of the expansive or the breadth of the creativity that pours out of this one person, right? Because it really doesn't. I mean, I honestly am very inspired by you. I always tell you that.
I know.
Right?
I love that. Thank you.
I apologize because I have a tendency, we both have a tendency to bounce, but it'll come back. It'll always come back.
Will it?
Yes. So what I was going to say is I hope this conversation is inspiring to everybody, and I hope it makes you want to maybe pick up a pencil to draw or to maybe even read, to sketch, to do something that maybe you had on the back burner but had been holding off to do. Being creative. Well, here's a good question.
Yes.
Why should people create?
So that's a fantastic question, Joey.
We've practiced this.
Well, really, I believe creativity isn't just what we think of creativity, which is, painting and writing and whatever. I feel that it's a way of life. Mm-hmm. And I also believe that everybody is creative. Absolutely. Every person is a creative person, even those that believe that they're not or that they can't do anything. Because to me, creativity is the way you express yourself. It's the you of you, the way you cook a meal, the way you have a conversation, the way you love someone, the way you dress. the way you just present yourself, any of these things, everything that happens in your life is a creative expression of yourself. So I believe everyone has it. Does everyone show it all the time? There could be people that don't because they feel like they're not enough, or they feel what they're doing isn't interesting, or something like that. But these are all those self-doubts that just stop everyone from doing anything, which I highly recommend to find a way to stop.
Well, that was what I was going to ask next, which is, because people will judge their creativity, right? Yeah. It's not good enough, or it's not the best. Yeah. So what would you say to people who judge their own sense of creativity? Yeah. You know what I mean?
I see it like this. It's really not for you to say, you know?
Even though it's yourself.
Yeah. Okay. It's not for you to say. It came out of you. It is something that you made. You felt compelled to make it. By the way, it doesn't mean you have to share. You don't have to share. I know we live in a world where we think we have to share absolutely everything we ever do. Sometimes I have to talk myself out of it. You know, like, I don't need to share everything I ever do. No one does. Yeah. If you want to, you can. It's the act of creating that gets you to know yourself better. And I think that's why I do it. I want to know, what am I really thinking about? What really interests me? How do I really feel? Who am I?
But how does art, that's a really interesting point. So how does art do that? How does art make you feel closer to yourself, or recognize parts of yourself that you might not have seen before you did that piece?
I find that, well, a lot of my drawings, and you've noticed it yourself, there's a depth to some of the faces that I like to draw, and there's this kind of, oh sure, and not to say that, oh, I learned that I'm deep or whatever. I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying I learned that even though I'm living. I know Annie, and I say, hi, Corby. Thanks. He's a great supporter of the arts. Yes.
Well, Corby, come on over.
But how I see, what am I feeling? What do I want to express? Look, we have so much going on, all of us. Yeah. All of us have so much, right? But what comes out is a lot of what's on my mind, my feelings, my thoughts, and what I want to continue. Like, it could be absolutely anything. No, what were we gonna say?
No, so do you feel, I'm going to show a picture what she's talking about, because right before we started this, we were just looking at some of her art, which we're going to show, you know, but and so you can see, I just right away when I saw this particular picture, I was drawn right to it because of what she said, the depth and the character, the face. So like, this is one of her probably hundreds. How many?
Hundreds out of maybe thousands. I don't know. You count like small drawings and everything. You count
probably
everything?
Thousands.
Yeah.
But there's a glare on there, so you can see. Can you guys see that? This is one of her drawings. This is a painting, actually, mixed media. It's charcoal and paint. But look at the depth in there. Like the eyes. The eyes are both like sad and reflective. I mean, it's really deep. You know, people can take photographs while they're on.
Yeah,
you know that. So my question to you.
Yes.
See, I can go back.
That was amazing.
Yeah. I told you.
Who are you?
I'm not you.
Okay, that's true.
So, so have you seen? Do you see that your art evolves?
Yeah.
Or that I'm sorry. Your art evolves as you evolve. And if so, like, what does that look like? How do you see it changing, evolving? Because if it's about you expressing yourself and you thinking about who you are, that means you evolve as a person over the years.
So, okay, I have. And I also have in my writing. And I've been writing since I was, maybe I wrote my first story when I was 8. Wow. I think, and I actually remember it was about a leprechaun and a pot of gold. I was really inspired by a Shirley Temple movie, a Bluebird or something like that, about how you're looking high and low everywhere for happiness, and at the very end, the Bluebird of happiness was in her backyard the whole time. Spoiler alert! It's like in your backyard. Of Oz, right? Yes. So I wrote a leprechaun story with that theme, which I like that I was 8 years old and had a theme.
It's amazing.
I love that. Everything was misspelled, which kind of continues. But anyway, wait. I can get back to it. Don't remind me. We were talking about, this is what happened. As I grew as a writer, and as I kind of started really feeling like I wanted to share more of who I am, I write a lot of comedy, but I like pathos a lot. I want depth with the humor.
I thought you said, I'm not joking, I actually thought you said payphones.
Oh, yeah, those were fun.
She said pathos.
Or pathos.
Pathos. I'm like, payphones. Okay. Just in case anyone else thought payphones. It wasn't that.
But I do like those. I miss them.
Yeah.
I took a picture of one the other day that was really cool. Okay, so see what happens.
Yes.
Okay, so this is what happened with the writing, which is the same thing that happened with the art. As I allowed myself to share more of how I really think and feel about anything, about grief, about life in general, I used what's called the deep voice, which is being vulnerable, which is not censoring yourself. So in my writing, in fact, in this book, which I'm proud of that book, it deals with some heavy stuff. It's a young adult novel, but people of all ages read it and, have connected on some level with it. So that, she dealt with a lot of serious things, but there's also levity in it. So I started allowing more of my truth to come through in my writing and in my art, and then you'll see more of the deeper faces. You'll see more of the...
one thought I just had?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, this is an amazing piece.
The love and the...
Can you say, look at that. I just love that. She gave the tours in Rimini. So, you made a really interesting comment that I'm not sure if there's a connection here, but I think there is.
Tell
right?
me.
Which is you said, this goes back to this right here, right?
Yes.
You said you listened to a deep voice.
Yes.
And
that's very interesting.
Isn't that?
Yeah. I saw, when my dad first started hearing that voice.
I don't know what that means.
He has dementia, and he was hallucinating that he heard a voice. But this voice was scary, unfortunately, and saying a lot of terrible things. But before it got that bad, it was keeping him company. And it was like saying some things that felt like his subconscious, which clearly it is him saying these things, which is fascinating. So because I was so fascinated, we're both writers. My dad's a writer as well, a playwright. And so because this was so fascinating in the beginning, I would explain to him and I would say, Dad, that voice you're hearing, that's you. That's you, because you're a writer and you can't see well enough to write anymore. And so you're still writing. You're writing in your mind. And he's like, this isn't real. He said, this is so interesting. I said, it is. And he said, you should write about this, which is why I named it this art book. You should write about this. Yeah.
That's interesting.
But yes, deep voice of any kind, listen to it. Obviously if it's dangerous and scary, don't listen to it. But if it's vulnerable and just telling you who you are, like those of us who are. So
Robert asked, what did you do on the Tonight Show? So
he
must have joined. Okay.
Yeah, I was a host of a dating game show called Buzz at the time. And so I was an invited guest. So you can watch it. You can watch the clip, actually, on YouTube, or go to anniewood.com. I probably have a link to it there. And I wrote about my experience, which you can read on Medium. All my links are at anniewood.com.
Yeah, if you go to anniewood.com, it's just ANNIE wood.com. There's a link that will take you to all of her links. So that's the main place you want to go. Yeah. Marianne said she's also an artist. I would love to know from the people in the chat, what type of art you do, right? Are you an artist? And if so, what kind? And then Corby wants to know if there was any artists in your family that you may have been inspired by.
Well, I think my dad, as far as writing goes, for sure. I mean, how does that not wear off or get to me when he was reading to me since I was very tiny, and I was a very young reader. And so reading and words and stories and storytelling very much, I would say, for my dad. Yeah. My brother, Miram, who unfortunately passed away, and I write about him as well. I write about everyone on my blog on Medium. He drew so cool. Like, he drew cool stuff, but he did not believe in himself to such a point that he scratched out all of his drawings. And
really?
I was a little kid. He was 9 years older than me. And so I'd be a kid finding his stuff and be like, this is so cool. Why did you destroy this? Oh, no. Yeah, I don't know. and he never shared or showed it to anyone. He would draw these cool things and then rip them up and throw them away. And my dad, by the way, when he was really, really young, didn't believe in his writing. And I remember a story where he burned his early works.
Oh my God.
And it's funny to hear all. It's interesting for me to hear all this. Maybe it got into my head really early on to just not do that.
That's amazing. Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying before about being your own worst critic. Just allowing yourself to be without judgment. Just be an artist and don't judge it. All right, so we've got some people have said, Annie's so full of life. I love it. Thanks for posting that link, Elle. Appreciate that. Did you go to art school?
No.
Dance what? Oh, Don. Look at Don.
No art school. In fact, I emancipated myself when I was 16 because I really, really hated school with a passion. And I was working at a talent agency part-time as a teenager in Beverly Hills. And then shortly thereafter, I also joined a theater company in Hollywood. And I was on a path to act. I got an agent when I was 12, and I did these things really on my own because my parents were not stage parents and they really didn't know what to do. So I just kind of figured this is pre-computer, pre-internet. So I had to I think I went to libraries and they posted things on a cork board or something. I don't know. It was really strange. But what was the question? No, so no art school because, see, I remembered. No art school, no any further learning other than self-education, which I'm very interested in. And I'm constantly growing and learning as a human. I take classes all the time. But I emancipated myself when I was 16 so I can go on auditions by myself. And
So let's take a moment now to look at some of the art, right? Since you kind of get a flavor of who Annie is, you can see her personality. She's very positive and very upbeat. Basically, I've never known anyone that's a happier person than her. I mean, you really are the happiest person I've ever met.
It's true. And I came in this way, and there is a study done about this where we come in is it 70%? It's a large percentage. Maybe that's too high. There's a large percentage.
69.
Okay. Yeah. A large percentage of our brains are programmed a certain way.
Yeah.
But the good news is there's that's left to reconfigure. We do it. We decide how we're going to be. So yes, I acknowledge that I was a happy kid as well, but then I kept it going by choosing every single day.
Lesson learned, right?
It's not like obviously I get sad and things. I'm human.
Greetings to those that are joining now. We're talking with Annie Wood, who is a super creative, and we're going to start showing some of her work. So in no specific order, we already showed some of the books. We have, I'll just show, this is just a sampling of some of her books and sketchbooks, right? We have a whole bunch here. Never ends, and there's much more.
The art books are all on Etsy, but my book books, and I have 2 other published books, Speaking Volumes Press, published them, and they're all on Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
So she's been in many movies. Here are 3 of them, right, that you can watch. My Sister's Keeper, Good Luck Chuck, and Cell Sisters.
Okay, right? This is you don't need to watch this. It's just that it's a cult favorite. It's a cult fan favorite. It's a B movie. The other 2 are
She also does a lot of voiceover work. So if your kids play video games, they might hear her voice as well. So that's the art stuff, right? And then we're going to get up and start showing things, right? So, this is my favorite. This is my favorite headshot of her. Isn't that a great shot? She was 1 year younger in this shot. All right, and now, so let's show you some things. We're going to move this around. Come with us. So we're going to come around here. This is her. Oops, let me flip this around. You don't need to see me. So this is her studio. Look at this. It just, even the color of the wall is blue. It looks very blue in the shot. You can see all of her. She moved some things down here for us to look, but you can see there's so many pictures, and she has her pictures right now in a handful of galleries around the world. Is it around the world or just here in Hollywood?
Well, there's one in West Hollywood, one in Riverside, California, one in Burbank, and one online show. Okay,
so let's show some of your art here.
Sure.
Okay.
So I do a lot of.
I love this one. So who's that?
I have no idea.
All right.
I often don't know, but I just experiment a lot. And so this is just this is oil and charcoal, and I ripped the canvas, and I just go for it,
Yeah.
you know. This is oil. Some of these
It's hard
I
to
have
see
listed.
through the cellophane.
Oh yeah. Some of these are listed on Etsy, and some are just I just did them, and I started experimenting with carving a linoleum block and then doing printing. So this was one of my first printmaking things. This one's called Ariella.
Let's show this with you so people can take a picture. People can take photographs.
This obviously is a self-portrait of myself and my dog.
Yes, so clear. And
this one's called Commissaire. Oh, this one's interesting.
And she does all different sizes too. Like some are, oh yeah, look at that. So you can see this part here is actually, I'm not going to touch it, but it's like, it's elevated. And so would this be considered mixed media also?
Yes.
Okay.
And what happened was I was actually recording a podcast with a friend, and I needed to sit up. You see that I don't sit still. I keep sitting on, well, maybe you've all noticed that already. So I moved around, and I wanted to like put my knee down on a basket. Anyway, it broke in half, or broke. And this is that part of the basket. And I held it up, and my friend said, "You're going to make something out of that, aren't you?"
Really?
Yes. And I said, "Probably. It looks like the sun, doesn't it?" And so that's gold foil on the.
Wait a minute. Do you have other friends besides me?
No, I made.
Okay,
that person
I
up.
was gonna say.
Obviously, I made that person up.
So Lisa said she loves that picture there.
Oh, thank you.
What about these? Tell us about these.
So
these are mannequins.
Yeah, I had a show in the beginning of 2020 before everything went down.
Yeah.
I had a solo show in Santa Monica, an exhibit, and it was called Pardon Me While I Blaze Some Trails, about women trailblazers. And it was inspired by a bunch of different women. This is inspired by Dorothy Parker. She's a fantastic writer. This is covered in her pages from one of her books that was falling apart, New Yorkers she wrote for.
Wow.
This is Madam C.J. Walker inspired by. She was the first Black woman, self-made Black female millionaire.
Really?
Yeah, she created a hair product. And so this is all like, things about newspaper clippings from the time and her quotes and things like this. And so I had these displayed, and then I had other inspired by Anne Frank, Hedy Lamarr, and other women.
Laura from England said that she was known for hair care.
That's right. Yes. She invented a hair care product, and it's probably somewhere on here. And she said, "I got my start by giving myself a start." She also said, "Don't sit and wait for the opportunities to come. Get up and make them."
Awesome mannequins. I agree, Lisa. I mean, these are incredible. Again, in person, they feel like you can see, if we zoom in, they're just articles.
And money. She has a lot of cash. And no, I didn't use real money.
It's not real money. Otherwise, you'd be going home with me. And this one here, this Dorothy Parker one, can you explain who Dorothy Parker is?
Yes, Dorothy Parker was a fantastic writer and poet, and she was known for her wit. She was part of the Algonquin Round Table back in the 20s, 30s. She was, a female in a group of a lot of men, male writers, and she obviously held her own and beyond. She was funny and just fantastic. I absolutely loved her. And sometimes, if you want to see them clearer, you go to the Etsy. Obviously, you don't have to buy them. You can just look and read the blurb. Because I write a bunch in the description, and you can see more photos, and you can.
Isn't she the one that also said, "What fresh hell is this?"
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So how about if we show people that one, the yellow one? So here's another.
This is wax pastels. I was experimenting with, I think, and scratching. You see, I scratched a lot with my fingers.
So a lot of her work is experimental, like she said.
Yeah, I just kind of go for it.
This, I'm going to zoom over here. Oh, can we show this one here?
Sure.
This is a big one on the wall here. I'm just going to come over here so you can see it. I'm going to actually zoom. I'm going to come over around here so people can see.
This is, I use a comic strip, an Italian comic strip that from my husband's home in Italy when we go there. And this is from the Los Angeles Times from a long time, from the 40s. And I combined both those, like he's from Italy, I'm from Los Angeles. I wanted both of us to be part of this. The mirror was is part of a series about reflection. And so it's kind of cool, like if this were lower and you stood here, you would see your face in the mirror. And yeah, it's hard to do because it's a little too high. And then you'll see I'm crazy about texture. You can touch this if you like. You're not going to ruin it.
I'm going to
You see the texture.
I'm going to put this. There you go. There's your in the mirror. Mirror, she said, look at yourself. Yes, you can touch. Yeah, that feels good. I love the colors. Like, I love the choice of the colorful cartoons.
Thank you.
That's a great shot right there for a postcard.
Oh, and this.
Oh, thanks, Patricia.
And this was part of my show, the Trailblazing Women show. Dorothy Arzner was the first woman, female. That's not redundant at all.
No.
Film director.
Well, nowadays it might be.
It's too bad. The female director in the DGA, in the Directors Guild. Okay. And this is all her films. And this would be a bullhorn. Quiet on the set.
We just lost exactly 10 people. Like 10 people just left.
Well.
So let's show. So I'm going to move over here to her desk so you can see how it all transpires. I mean, this is clearly somebody who's creative. And I like that item. So Laura likes that. She's in England. Yeah, she's very creative. So can I show this?
Sure.
So this is a sneak peek. You can see she's working on this right now.
Well, this one's a work in progress. I do stop motion film. So I'm making a little character right now.
We didn't mention that.
Oh, the stop motion films, you can also watch the ones that are already up. You can find links. Actually, on anniewood.com, I have a whole section called micro shorts. So you can watch a lot of my shorts.
Okay. So here's what she's looking at, right? She's working on right now. I love look at that face. I love it.
Well, these are the index card series.
There's an index card series.
I'm doing 100 of these. I made a goal. So this is number 35. And I sell these on Etsy for $40. So somebody can buy original art for $40.
So you can buy original art for $40, or you can see these. Can I touch these here?
Yeah.
So she's doing these. I love the faces you make. Look at that. Yeah, she's very creative. We're going to call her super creative. And then you can see all of the supplies she has. And then, here's a picture of her mother who's unfortunately passed about 8 years ago. This is her mother. What was your mom's name?
Abigail.
Abigail? Abigail. I always just say Ima, which I guess means mother in Hebrew, right? That's her mom. Oh, right. It's funny, Cynthia. I thought you were talking about the picture of her mom. No, she said this picture here. There's like a little pause.
Yeah.
She's like, that picture looks like Milton Berle. I'm like,
my mom looks like.
Yes, it does look like that. Yes, gorgeous pic. Her mom was beautiful. Her mom died like a year before my mother. Here's some more. This is another example over here. I'm just going to bounce a little bit. Did you do this one? Yeah, look at that one. Here's another. These are both art on the wall behind the ladder. She's got big ones. Look at this.
Just have to find space.
It's incredible. It's just like endless art.
Oh, this one. This is one of my larger ones.
Oh, look at that. I love that.
I actually forgot about this one.
How many hours a day are you creating?
It's
on average.
It's really it's my day, other than life things and whatever that you have to do. But so I was diagnosed with ADHD, and it's very clear that obviously I've had it my whole life, but a recent diagnosis made me really think more about how I do and what I do and how to focus. And so I have a very clear schedule in the morning of things I need to do, like yoga, meditate, take my vitamins, all these things. And I check them off like it's like my job, basically. And then when I do those things, I look at my day. Am I working on a book? Do I need to submit something to my agent? Do I need to, did an audition come in? Do I need to record an audition? So is anything like really important that I need to do that's due, then I do that. Otherwise, I go right back to one of my projects that I'm working on. And one is a children's book I'm illustrating and writing right now, and also a poetry book and a play.
My gosh,
So
it's incredible.
I choose the one that it's hard, but you can do it. It is possible. And so you figure out which one matters the most, and you just go in.
So so you can tell. I'm just gonna flip this around again so you can see. This is an example of something that she's created. You can see it's just hanging there, and she was inspired to make 1,000 origami. What are they? Birds?
Swans. Because 1,000, it's supposed to be cranes. Yeah.
Oh, cranes. That's
it's
what
supposed.
Laura
1,000
said.
cranes is supposed to be,
Laura has
auspicious.
ADHD too, and she said that it's also because you have a zest for learning and creating.
Yes, 100%. Absolutely.
So this is 1,000 cranes with all of Annie's energy, creativity, and money. When can we look forward to reading your book or seeing your artwork, Joe?
He does have a book.
No, I think he means you.
I think he means you. He said Joe. Was there not a comma?
Is that Robert? You're talking about my stuff.
Yeah.
I already have a bunch of stuff. I used to have a photography website. Yeah. I was big into photography. I write. I draw.
You should follow him on Instagram where he posts his photos. Oh.
Yes, I love the photos. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff too. I actually spent. I left Hollywood and ended up getting a corporate job. I'm just going to show her studio again so you can see it. If you want to take a snapshot, I just love that picture there of all of this. It's amazing. So I'm going to flip this around. We're going to sit down.
Can I ask these?
Yes, I'm going to go into those now. And all right, so here we go. We're back. We are back. Let me sit down and get ourselves situated. Oh, Larry P has to go, but I love seeing your amazing work. Much love from your cousin Larry.
Oh, bye. Thanks, Larry. Thanks, cuz.
So Larry. Yeah. All right. So now we're back, and that was. I think we covered everything, right?
Sure.
If something comes up, we'll share that. But you get the gist, right? She's a super creative. She's involved in everything. She's inspiring. She inspires herself. She doesn't let herself be limited to self-doubt or to unsureness. You just jump in and just do it, right? There's no right or wrong to being creative, right? That's the lesson in this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I just feel like mostly I feel like I have to. Like I call myself a creative compulsive. I feel like this is one of the reasons why we're all here, is to figure out who we are and show ourselves, and helps us fit in the world anyway.
So a question I have is, and this kind of goes back into the other day she came, I started drawing mandalas, right? And so she came to where I'm staying, and we started drawing a mandala. Oh, you should show the mandala you drew.
Oh, what's over there?
That's all right. So we drew mandalas. And I guess my question for you is, why should people be creative? Like, why?
You asked me that.
No, but I'm seeing this as a different question. It's a different why, meaning like, what do people gain out of being creative? That's a different way to say it.
Well, how about if I just tell you, because this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Okay. So how I feel when I create is I feel the most me. I feel my most authentic self.
Yeah.
No masking, no BS, no anything. Just this is me. This is me. And I feel like everyone on this planet, like I said before, is a creative person. How it comes out is different for everyone, but it's there. And why, if anybody holds back themselves, they're doing a disservice, not just to themselves, but to the world.
Yeah.
Because what's the point if we're not all seeing each other?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
I love that. I love that. So Angela was saying she started drawing mandalas in September. Laura loves your outlook. She feels stuck in her job. That doesn't allow me to express my creativity. So, Laura, that's interesting you say that. Because I was in the corporate sector for like 20 plus years, and I used Microsoft Excel to be my creative expression, which seems kind of horrible. But so I always prided myself on having the most creative Microsoft Excel spreadsheets. They were colorful. They were thorough. They were like,
this is what I mean.
Yeah,
in every way.
Yes, in every way. When I did PowerPoint, I always made sure that they were really clean. And I had a team of like 25 people a couple jobs back. And I always insisted that they focus on creating solid presentations because that was an expression of who they are.
Yes.
And that filtered through. Like people now like did that. Like they,
I love it.
Yeah, it was good.
I love it. I love it. And that is what I mean. In every way possible, in even the strangest circumstances, you can find a way. In how you speak to another, in how you take a walk, in the hat you choose to wear, in any of it. All of it is an expression of yourself. Yeah. I totally get the whole job thing, Laura, but yeah, that's a struggle. The bottom line for me, and this is the most important takeaway I hope to give to anyone on this planet ever, my whole life, is something Lucille Ball said. She said, you really have to love yourself in this life to get anything done. There's no other way, you know. And that's I paraphrased a bit, but that's what she says, and that's what I say. If you don't love yourself enough to explore your creativity and to show it to yourself primarily. And you can use, and in fact, that's a really great point. I think you can use your creativity to learn to love yourself. Right? Like you don't have to love yourself to just be creative. You can just start picking up a pen, draw a mandala, you can do some sketching, you can paint a wall. I mean, creativity doesn't have to be in the form of a movie or a painting. Creativity is any self-expression that makes you feel good about who you are, right? Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. So I would just say, just create and just be inspired, and maybe you'll do it on Monday, and then maybe you'll find that you're doing it again on Saturday, right? It's seamlessly a part of your life, and it doesn't have to have anything to do with actual art. It doesn't have to be a painting or a drawing or writing or anything like that. Yeah. It's just how you express yourself in this world. It's not holding back. Yes. Elsa, this was wonderful and needed for the world. Isn't that nice? Yes. See, we got our mission accomplished. Marianne finds cooking healing. That's a great. Cooking is so creative. Yes. Larry, who's on the chat here, he's a cook, but baking is his creative outlet. All of that. Yeah. All of that. Music. How do you even show? Yes. Let's see. But is there a discipline that you aspire to? A discipline is that what it said? I know you are creatively compulsive, but is there a discipline you aspire to? Meaning, like an ambition, or what is so I'm extremely disciplined when it comes to finishing projects. I focus on that. I am an author. I'm a published author, and I have another book right now at my agents, and that hopefully will find a publisher, and that'll be out there too. So yes, I am also ambitious, if that was the question, and I want the art that I create to also be successful. I am pro money, and I'm not against any of that. I don't think there needs to be a difference, but I also think that people can write and draw and do things and not need it to be having anything to do with money. But in my case, this is my career. I'm also an actor, and I audition all the time. I'm in a movie right now that I'm working on. So yes, everything that I do happens to also be my career. Wow. Oh, so to answer Robert's question, because I'm bouncing a little bit, Robert asked about something about, this is about you, this hour. No, about you. I said I didn't need to talk about me this whole time. I did write a book about 15 years ago called Living and Loving Well. Isn't she funny? She's so cute. I was one of the first to buy the copy. You probably were. Yes, I was. I probably sent you a free copy. No, I bought it. Oh, okay. So Living and Loving Well is a book I wrote 15 years ago. I'm actually starting to write, inspired by Annie, to write the second version. And Living and Loving Well was like a field guide to help people identify who they are, right? Because my brain gets really logical. It's like it's a split between logical and creative. And in the middle, I try to find some peace. Yes. You know? And that was about, how can you successfully be who you are or love somebody unless you know who you are? So that book helps you define your relationship model, helps identify what your core values are. It helps you write mission statements for your life. Yes. Right. And from there, everything should fall into place. I love Joey's writing, and I always have. Yes, and I'm constantly telling you to write. Yes, I did send you a chapter that I wrote once for this book. Yes, right. Yes. I remember that. You were writing it on the train. Kindling. Weren't you writing it on the train? Yeah. Yes. All right, so I do have some questions for Annie, our super creative here. Corby. Here, I want to say one more thing because I think this is important. Yeah. because I think a lot of people struggle with self-confidence.
Yes.
Creating, I believe, can be really helpful in that. When you create, you start figuring out more who you are. When you have knowledge of self, you get more confident in it. It just kind of, it just comes there. It's like the more you know,
Yeah.
The more you feel good and okay about it. So,
but art can be, no pun intended, a medium to get there. Like art can be the vehicle or the push to get you to the point. It's almost like what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Art or motivation.
That's what I'm saying. Just start. Yeah. Just start whatever it is. Just start it. Just start it and keep going.
Yes. Being a Christian. Yeah. This is an interesting factoid. Annie and her mother were born on the same day. And sadly, my mother died on her birthday.
February 10th. Is that crazy? We already feel like soul pals, and then this happens, and it's just like a
right. Crazy. I remember when I called her and said my mother passed away, and she's like, "What?" And I remember saying it was on your birthday. I remember you having like, "What?"
It feels very spiritual to me.
Yeah.
It feels like important.
It's so strange. Of all the days.
I know.
Of all the days to pick.
I know. Of all the days, you got to die on this day.
All right. Oh, Larry thought the same thing. Amazing Healing Connections. Yes. So one thing that I'm going to ask Annie some questions now. I actually booked this tour for 90 minutes, so we're going to keep talking for another 35 minutes. And unless everybody leaves, then we'll.
No, we probably will still keep talking.
Yeah, we will.
Are you kidding?
we talk for hours. Like, what time is it? We still haven't solved all the problems in life. But one thing that's interesting is, as creative as Annie is, and as silly as we can be, because like it's weird because when we see each other, there's like this. All of a sudden, it feels like the energy goes up.
Like it rises.
It rises.
And we can feel it in the air.
We can feel it in the air. We repeat each other.
Repeat each other.
Repeat each other. Here we go.
Everyone's leaving.
So, and then, but there's also a really deep spiritual connection, right? So it's not just about us being, having fun and being silly, but our relationship is mostly based on spirituality, thinking about life and trying to figure things out. When I'm going to show that picture again of us as young folks, right? And then there's another one of us as older folks, being silly. But even when we were young and on these movie sets, our connection was based on the fact that we were so intrigued by life, this process of life and where we're going and what it's all about and trying to figure it out. And we really thought that we were two smart kids.
Well, we just bonded like crazy over these deep talks because not everybody was into that, especially so young. By the way, even now, by the way, not everyone is really into like these deep thoughts. It takes certain kinds of people to be interested.
I wonder what Joe's mother. My name
Carol.
Carol. My mom's name was Carol. Carol Ann, they say. Carol Ann from Poltergeist. Remember Carol Ann?
Yes, of course I do.
Oh, maybe she's in the TV. All right, so
we'll check later.
What else? I'm also going to show a couple things because I'm just sharing art.
This is what I'm doing now. More is the drawing.
So these are little things that Annie made for me over the years.
Oh, I forgot about those.
I love them. I have them. So they're about this big, and they're on canvas. And I asked her to. So she made me the one. She made me the one on the bottom with the quote. Who have you loved the most in life?
Oh my God. I'm all about love and creativity. So there's just so much, but there's hands down no competition that my my mom was my soul person.
Yes.
And, as soon as I came into this world, the first thing I remember is her face. And I thought it was the sun.
Really? That's amazing.
I just feel like she was the most perfect mother for me.
That's nice.
And both parents really just gave me space to breathe and be. And if there are parents out there, I highly recommend that you let your kid find themselves, give them that space, because I got nothing but encouragement, and they made a happy child, I think, because of that, happy adult.
That's a really good lesson, because parents really are, they create that foundation. And a lot of times parents bring their own baggage to the table, and their own self-doubt and their own limitations end up creating the limitations in their children.
Sure.
So yeah, I definitely let your kids be who they are and self-express.
Yes. And they allowed that. So I just felt like I had space to be who I was. I wasn't told.
My sister, who's on the chat, her kids, when she was growing up, she always framed all of the art for the kids. Yes. And you go over there, and it looked so professional.
Yeah,
like these
nice.
Kids, I'm like, these kids are amazing, right? But I think all kids are. If you framed any child's art, it would look really amazing.
Okay.
Anyway, I could tell that I lost her about 20 seconds ago.
No, I'm not even saying like they told me I was great all the time or anything like that. They just gave me space to discover myself, is what I mean.
I don't have kids, Joyce. No, although I would have liked to. Neither does Annie.
No,
I don't have any kids either. So based on the fact that your mom was the person who probably had the most love for in your life, what lessons did she teach you?
So many. First of all, she was this very quirky, wonderful Israeli immigrant. She came to this country with nothing. She couldn't speak the language. She left an abusive relationship in another country to come here. She had 2 small boys, my half brothers. So she was a survivor, but so funny and so herself and so independent in her way of thinking that the best lesson is, she used to say, if somebody didn't like something you did, or if someone didn't like you, like when I was a preteen or something, like, why won't blah, blah, blah play with me or something? Yeah. She would say, if they don't like you, kiss me toches, which is a Yiddish way of saying kiss my butt. Yeah. It doesn't matter, but she has such an attitude, like, you're terrific. Do you think you're terrific? Look at you. Okay, wonderful. Forget it.
That's amazing.
Like, just to not really give a lot of energy into what other people are thinking or saying. Which, by the way, because I was bullied for being happy, believe it or not. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I believe that, actually.
Yeah. I've written about it quite a bit. But yeah. So.
I had the same experience. I was a very happy kid.
Yeah.
And I remember going to watch my brother play basketball, and I was always smiling.
Yeah.
And I remember
someone said, "Why are you smiling?"
Some kids said, "Oh, there's that kid. He's always smiling." And I remember that
it made them mad.
It made them mad, and I remember changing that, thinking, "Oh, I can't smile. I'm gonna point myself out."
Do you want to know what I did? Okay, so.
Were you that person? That wasn't you, was it?
No, I love this story. Okay, so I already said I have ADHD. So, and when you're younger, we know what that looks like. And, the hyperactivity part was always not diagnosed usually in girls because they just thought boys were like that. So people just would always say, oh, she has a lot of energy. Okay, and I always said, oh, I have a lot of energy, like a positive thing. Yeah. But obviously that can get annoying. I know that. That can get annoying for kids and for adults if it's too much, right? Yeah. So apparently I was annoying some, 10-year-olds. And so they started kind of circling me at recess one day. And they wanted to beat me up. They wanted to have a fight. And they were like, what? You're so weird. Oh, yeah. They were like, you're so weird. Which, by the way, is going to be the title of my next poetry book. You're so weird. And so they would circle me like they were ready to fight me. And so I said, after a few moments, I looked at them and I said, I love you. And they were so freaked out. Okay, so I just added to being weird. Yeah. But they were so freaked out that they left. They left me alone, and they never bothered me again.
Love wins. That's the answer. Love wins.
And why I thought to do that, I have no idea.
How old were you? 5, you said?
No. We were 10 or something. It was grammar school.
That's amazing.
I was like, I love you. I said it like that, really relaxed. Maybe I was even being sarcastic, but if I was, they didn't get it. They just thought, you're so weird, and they left me alone.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, so what was your answer about what you learned, what the lessons you learned from your mom?
Oh, to not give too much energy into what other people think.
Okay. Is there a life...
It's more important that you love you.
Yeah. That's a hard lesson for people.
There are a lot of hard lessons in life. It doesn't mean it's impossible.
Are there... I think this camera's following you. Is there... Are there any life lessons that you wish you had learned at a younger age?
I wish I learned how to be with money better. I didn't learn anything about. I didn't learn practical things. I learned things that in the big picture of life, as you're hearing now, are amazing, wonderful things about self-love and creativity and all these things that are fantastic. Some practical things I could have had some more help with because I didn't know, and I ended up in my 20s having my own TV show and making a lot of money. Luckily I wasn't like a druggie or I wasn't into that stuff, so I didn't lose it that way. But still, I made a lot of stupid decisions. Yeah.
So is that what is that a lesson that you would teach yourself at a younger age?
Yeah,
finances?
Absolutely. I would be like, this is how to be an independent, human and do these things and be smart. Practical things are often boring for our brains. I know she's an ADHDer, Laura. Yes. You're right. And that's so it is definitely partly my problem, but I also was never taught. So maybe there's a way to teach people in a entertaining way, and I would have paid attention. Now there is. I'm sure there's a Netflix docu-series about how to, manage your finances. Yeah. That's entertaining. Yeah. And that we would have watched, Laura, because we like entertaining.
Truth, agreed.
Yeah.
So
JB too. Yep.
So a question, this is a little bit different, but do you think that religion helps society?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. I think spirituality does.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a real tough one. I don't know. I think it can help an individual to make them feel like they have a community. Yeah. I think community is really important, but I don't like the aspects where, people do us and them. I'm not interested in the us and themness of the world. We have enough of that in all sorts of ways, and that doesn't seem helpful.
During our on the Reiki guided meditations that we do twice a week, Mondays at 3 and 8, Thursdays at 8 p.m.
That's good. I would do the exact same thing.
I always make sure that I say at least once a week, but recurring, is that this group is about like Reiki comes from pure love. And it means it's all inclusive. So it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or straight or gay or trans or black or white or Jewish or whatever you are, or whatever religion you adhere to. This is about inclusivity, right? We don't exclude everybody. Everybody's welcome to be part of this because love is endless, right? And love doesn't have pure love doesn't have boundaries around it.
It's amazing that it even has to be said because life itself should be all inclusive.
Yes, well, we're all working toward that goal, right? Yes, she appreciates those inclusive comments. Yes. Oh, JB is a big part of our Reiki sessions too. So next question: how has the world changed since you were a child, and what are you glad that's changed, and what would you like to be the same?
I love technology. I'm a big fan. I know that like social media and all sorts of things and the AI stuff and all that, it can be problematic in many ways. But overall, I'm a huge fan. I think it makes us connect more. Look at this. Yeah. We couldn't have done this when we were younger. We can connect with people from all over the world and share thoughts. I mean, this is just gorgeous. I think that this is lovely. What I miss is like even when we were hanging out, I miss not picking up our phones, I miss just, you didn't have to always take a photo or look at what's going on or an email or a text or anything. So we were with each other.
Present.
We were with each other.
Even think about how we used to listen to records.
I think of that too.
You get the record down. Yeah. Remember how you get records?
Oh my
and God. You just get the record, you put it on the turntable, and you would sit down and you would just listen, even if you have ADHD.
Yes. Okay. No, but it's true.
Yeah.
But it is true. Music felt different then because we would listen together and it would just be like this beautiful experience instead of just background noise. You know what I mean? It's changed.
She's addicted. Yes, Lisa. Yes.
Yeah. We all are. It's hard. Listen.
You know what's fascinating about that record? Hard. Yeah. You know what's fascinating about the record thing is that we just bought a turntable maybe like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and we started building our record collection again. When I buy a record now, I sit down, my phone's away, and I'll just listen to the whole record in quiet. Wow. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe this whole practice fell right back into it. Oh, it's different than a CD.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have a turntable?
I did for a while, and I sold it. I should get one. I like that idea too.
It really.
I have some records. I kept them in case that one day I do that.
Yeah. So next question. If you have any questions for Annie, by the way, just drop them in the chat. I'm happy to ask any questions that you have.
I'm still here.
She's still here. She's just going to get something to drink. Yes, Lisa, get a turntable. It's really nice. All right, next question, folks. And if you hear these questions, I would love to hear what your thoughts are in the chat. I mean, if you want to answer the question yourself, feel free. Next question is, so what moments in life, good or bad, are the most vivid to you? That just really stand out.
Oh my God, I feel like I mean, obviously we all have so many. Yeah. But I do think a lot about, I used to go to this place with my family called Highland Springs Resort. And it was this really low key kind of like these cabins that nothing special, certainly not any stars, no 4 stars, nothing like that. But there was something about it. Like it felt like the country, and I grew up in Los Angeles, and we would do these hay rides. And for an LA City girl, these things are very unique. They're very special. And I felt kind of like I was time traveling. When I was a little kid doing that. And I used to go do yoga with my dad. I was like 10. We'd go on early morning walks, and we would say hello to the sun.
Oh, no wonder. I mean,
I know.
Parents, yeah.
And doesn't it sound so much like me, saying hello to the sun? And so I feel like those early childhood memories really did affect a lot.
And if you think they say that we pick our parents before we come here, we pick our lives. I mean, think about that. You pick these people. Like, I need to have joyful people in my life.
I need this. All right, exactly. I do
encouragement.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. So, and how long have you been acting, Annie?
Somebody asked me a different question. Oh, how long have I been acting? Oh, since I was a kid. When I was 3, I put my hand over Carol Burnett's face on TV and said, "I'm going to be on the TV." Or I said, "I'm going to be in the TV." Who knows what I was thinking. But I knew from an early age. And then I got into acting classes probably when I was 10. I got my agent when I was 12. So
I just want to respond to Robert. He still hasn't found a way to process the whole thing with dementia and his mom.
Yeah.
One thing that helped me, and I haven't had to deal with dementia, right? But so my parents both passed years ago, and my mom, when she was dying, we only had a couple weeks before we found out the time that she was dying to when she died. It was like maybe 3 weeks, right? It was very quick. And the one thing that helped me get through it, right, was it was extreme grief because it was all happening so suddenly. Yes. I think with dementia, it's difficult because it's so gradual, right?
My dad's was very fast.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, because it was different. It was a whole other thing. But go on.
So what helped me process, and I'm not sure if this will help you, Robert, but I still found time in the day in between the grief to go and sit and be grateful, right?
Beautiful.
To be grateful for the relationship that I had with her when she was healthy, the relationship that I had, the lessons I learned from being really close to her. Yes. And I just let myself sit in that moment of gratitude, and it shifted it shifted how I felt. And then even when she passed, I still went to and found a meditative space. Beautiful. And I meditated. And
see how that is? Gratitude.
It was amazing.
You reprogrammed your brain through gratitude. It makes complete sense.
Yeah. And so even now when there's moments, maybe you guys do the same thing. My mom died in, the year after your mom. So it was
2016. Mine in 2015, yours in 2016.
Okay, so 2016.
It's 7 years. We help each other remember life.
So my point is that I lost my point. See,
one thing that I would say, Robert, is just to remember that she's still in there.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Any other advice for?
I remember once when Ima told me when she was in a coma once a long time ago when she was young, and how she could hear everyone in the room and the doctors and everything. And that always stuck with me, how people think when somebody is out, that they're really out. And maybe some are, but not all. She came back and she said, well, I heard this and I heard this and I heard this. So when I think of that, I think of also with dementia, it's like it may appear to us that this person is just gone. It's not the same person. They're angry, or they're this, or they're that, or they don't remember this or that, or anything, or who they are, or who you are. I just like to think that there's a part of them that is aware. There's a part of them, they just can't express it. So if you need to just remind yourself of that and talk to that person.
And another thing too, and this is not to get sidetracked on understanding grief, which is a fascinating topic in itself, is that, I say this in the Reiki guided meditations, is that, the word emotion has the word motion in it, right? So emotion should be flowing through you. You shouldn't be holding it, right? So if you're experiencing grief, let yourself experience grief. Let yourself experience the confusion or whatever it is, and don't keep it stored in your body. Just let it flow through. I had a moment a couple of days ago. I was just like, what's happening, right? I didn't know. And I just kind of just let myself experience that, just experience it, right? Whatever that was. And then I felt good.
Feel your feelings.
Feel your
I didn't make that up. That's it.
All right. So off we go. Thinking about the positive things in the community. Yes, Lisa, that's right. All right. Next question. Any questions for Annie? Drop them in the chat. Next question for Annie. Were there any forks in the road that you wish you had taken that you didn't?
Oh, really just career stuff. I don't know how interesting it'll be to them, but it's
based
more,
on career.
It's basically when I had, so this is some Hollywood speak. When I had my show, I was a host of a dating game show, nationally syndicated show called Buzz, for those that are just joining. And when I had that show, I was being offered other shows. It was successful. I was a guest on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. I was on Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher. I traveled the country, promoting the show. It was a big deal. So for the time, an amazing, successful time in my life, other people were offering me things, and I didn't do a lot of things because I guess I just thought this was going to go on forever.
Like it might be a 10-year run or something.
Yeah, or at least a few. I didn't know So I probably should have made smarter choices.
Well, you made choices based on what you knew at the time.
What I knew at the time, I was in my 20s, and I was.
You wouldn't be with Peter right now if you did that.
Sure.
I mean, everything works out.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Her husband's name is Peter, by the way.
Yes, and he's wonderful. So if we went back to that question of greatest loves, if I didn't choose my mom, if I couldn't choose a family member, well, he's a family member because he's my husband, I would choose him.
Robert wants to know. That's nice. Robert wants to know, what is your take on the industry today versus when you started?
Oh, wow. Oh, so much. There's just so much internet, social media content creators and influencers. And so there's a lot of looking to TikTok and looking to Instagram to find the people that have 1 million followers. And so producers are like, that's exciting. Let's find something for that person. So when I was coming up, it was more about, training and what you do and the craft and acting and you cared so deeply. Oh my God, you cared so deeply. Now you can see some people, not all, because there's still plenty of actors left. You see a lot of people that maybe don't even care that much about acting or storytelling, but just want to be famous.
Oh.
So, it's changed a lot, and there's just a lot more people. It's all a lot harder, I think.
Is Melissa M., is that Melissa, your friend?
I love you both so much, Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi. That's my female bestie.
I didn't know you were on the chat.
You can be my male bestie. That's my female bestie. Yes. Yay.
We were just talking about you, Melissa, too. I was asking Annie questions about you. Yeah.
I told him everything.
So next question for Annie. Is there anyone in your life, past or present, that you wish you had said something to but didn't?
Is that like that I wish I said something to?
Well, that's actually a bad question for you because you're pretty good at speaking your mind. What do you dislike most about living this life?
I don't think about it. I don't think about it.
I believe that.
I don't put my
She's
energy
just in it.
there.
That's amazing. See, it's like the what you think and what you feel is what you create.
Yes.
And so you stay in positivity and joy and
Obviously anybody can think of things like that, but I choose not to. So
there's a quote that I'm not saying that you're like a dog, but
dogs are amazing.
They are amazing. It's like
that's
God's
not
gift.
An insult. Yeah.
So my old dog walker once was talking about a dog that she had. That's the quote that I mentioned.
Oh yeah.
And so it reminded me of her. And she was talking about this little dog. It was so full of happiness and everything, bouncing around. And she said, "Oh, don't worry about him. He's distracted by his joy." And I went, "Oh," I said, "I'm going to make that a t-shirt or a mug," which I did. It's on my Etsy
site. I'm going to get it. You know I am. Of course I am.
You bought that one.
Not that one. I got something else that you
did,
okay. But I will.
So there, I'm just, and that's the way you are to me. Like you feel like you're distracted by your joy.
I love that.
So rare.
I look at my little puppy, my little Maltipoo, and I think I'm just like her, and I like it. So I'm not insulted by being compared to a dog.
Wow. So I think I know the answer to this, but have you laughed enough? That's a good question. All right, this is interesting. Okay. Back in 80, right? Which was a long time ago.
Yeah,
right?
Before I was born. So I mean, I don't know what you're about to say, but go on.
Right. So there were only 3 billion people in the world. Now there's over 7 billion people.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing that the population explosion has been amazing. Why do you think so many more people are here on Earth?
Ooh.
Finally, a question that made her think.
Ooh, why are they here? Like, I don't know. I don't know that I subscribe to the theory that we're here to do something specific for the world. I think that I feel more like we're here to do something for ourselves, to figure ourselves out, and whether that in creativity, spirituality, love, and in doing so, we connect with others who are doing the same, and we come together in this like love creativity fest and make this world, we lift the vibration of the world to this beautiful, beautiful place. Why are there more people here? Because not enough people were doing it.
I love that answer.
Do you like it? Okay,
yes, that's something I might have said. Which is probably why we're friends. That's a good answer.
Joy basically said, I love what you said because you remind me of me. Which is why.
Of you.
Yeah.
She said you. Yeah. Okay.
We remain friends. I'm not narcissists.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point about more people being on this earth, because I think thinks that there's so. Sometimes I'm just processing what you thought because I think it was really profound.
Yeah, nice.
You know?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to keep thinking on that. Are you afraid of death?
No.
I didn't think so. Some of these things I know, but I still want to ask. Why aren't you afraid of death? What about it?
Well, I think probably because I believe in reincarnation. Maybe if I thought it was just dark and scary in the end, I would be.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah. I think it goes into a better place. I'm just going to ask Annie, are there any final words you want to say? It's been amazing to chat with you. Thanks for letting us into your house and your studio.
This was so fun.
Any words you want to share with people?
I mean, I feel like we did a really good job. I mean, my purpose here on the planet, I believe, is I'm inspired to inspire through inspiration. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm just saying words. I believe that we're here to love and create, and to not hold back, and to not question yourself, and to just do it. And the Lucille Ball quote that I probably should memorize instead of paraphrase about, you really have to love yourself in this life. You can't get anything done unless you love yourself. So practice that.
Amazing. Thanks, Melissa. You know what? To that point, I think I see you as I'm going to change the word from a super creative to someone who ignites creation.
Ooh,
right? Because I think people are inspiring. I think you're an inspiring person, but I think we all have creativity in our blood, but you're somebody who ignites the creativity.
And I want
you're
that,
the flame.
and I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really love that.
You're welcome. Melissa told me to say that. So thanks, Melissa.
Probably because she's smarter than you are.
Yeah.
So.
It's probably true. It's true. All right, everyone. Thanks again for being here. It's been a really great time. I hope you enjoyed it.
This was fun. And go to anniewood.com. Follow me on Instagram. Check out my Etsy shop if you'd like. And sign up for my newsletter. And you'll be the first to know of whatever creative going.
Oh, maybe we'll do that.
That's a good idea. I have a podcast, though. It's called
Joey.
Wait, okay. I wrote this for you. It's my poems and stories, and I'm reading them, and it's brand new. I just started it. It's on Spotify and Amazon and all the places that you get your podcast. So find all that at anniewood.com. Yeah.
I think that's it.
All right. This was so fun. Yay! Thanks everyone for being here.
Sticking around. This has been so fun. All right, we're gonna keep talking. But
eventually we're going to stop this, right?
Yes. Okay. Thanks everybody. I'll see you again soon.
Bye everyone.
Bye. Appreciate.